They don't come when you're ready. They don't show up when you're strong. Instead, the assault begins when you're at your lowest ebb, when your spirit feels depleted and your defenses are compromised.
It's a precise moment chosen with strategic intent. This pattern is familiar to many.
Why this timing? Why attack during profound weakness, when you're already struggling to keep your head above water?
Consider being utterly broken and vulnerable. It's in these moments the enemy strikes hardest.
They don't engage when your armor is polished. They wait for chinks in your armor. This feels like a calculated ambush.
The timing maximizes the negative impact, pushing you further into despair.
Why wait for these windows of vulnerability? Is it opportunistic or sinister?
When you're struggling to find light in darkness, another wave of hostility is the last thing you need. Yet, unseen forces exploit every fissure.
Being targeted when fragile is not imagined. It's a recognized spiritual dynamic.
These attacks are not random misfortune. They are intentional, aimed to destabilize and discourage.
Have you ever felt that persistent, gnawing sense of anxiety that seems to appear from absolutely nowhere? Or experienced a sudden, disorienting wave of confusion that clouds your thoughts and judgment?
It frequently signals something far deeper, an invisible attack meticulously designed to cripple your spirit and undermine your faith.
But what if the true source is more insidious, more cunningly calculated than you've ever dared to imagine? What if these disturbing feelings are the first subtle ripples of an unseen battlefront opening up in your life? That profound, bone-deep exhaustion you feel. It often wears a convincing disguise. You tell yourself it's just the relentless pace of modern life, the endless demands on your time and energy.
But what if this oppressive weariness is something more sinister? Something carefully orchestrated from an unseen realm? This isn't the kind of tiredness that a good night's rest can easily mend.
This exhaustion is a common vanguard of the invisible attack, a subtle yet potent weapon designed to weaken your defenses from within. Consider the nature of this debilitating tiredness. It seeps into every part of your being, doesn't it?
Your mind feels foggy, your body aches without exertion, and your will to engage with life dwindles to almost nothing.
This isn't merely physical burnout. It's a spiritual drain, a targeted siphoning of your vital energy. The enemy understands that an exhausted soldier cannot fight effectively. This profound sense of depletion is often the first sign that you are under siege. Then there is the anxiety. That suffocating, relentless anxiety that can descend upon you seemingly out of nowhere, coiling itself around your heart and mind. It isn't always tied to a specific identifiable problem or a rational fear.
Instead, it often manifests as a pervasive sense of unease, a constant hum of apprehension, or sudden, overwhelming waves of nameless dread. You might find your thoughts racing, your chest tight, your peace shattered by 1,000 what-ifs.
This is more than just everyday worry. It can be a clear indicator of a spiritual disturbance, an invisible arrow aimed directly at your serenity. The enemy delights in stirring the waters of your soul into a tempest of fear.
This spiritually induced anxiety often feels different from common stress. It can be disproportionate to your actual circumstances, an irrational fear that logic cannot easily dispel. It whispers insidious lies, magnifying your insecurities and casting dark shadows of doubt over everything you hold dear, especially your faith and God's promises.
It feels like an external pressure, an oppressive atmosphere deliberately created to destabilize you. This is not merely your mind playing tricks on you. It is often a direct assault, a spiritual agitation designed to steal your focus, your joy, and your confidence in God's unwavering presence and protection.
It aims to make you feel isolated, vulnerable, and constantly on edge. The enemy employs anxiety with devastating precision for several strategic reasons. Fear is a powerful paralytic. When you are gripped by anxiety, you are less likely to step out in faith, less likely to pursue your divine calling, and less likely to stand firm in spiritual warfare.
Anxiety erodes your trust in God's goodness and sovereignty, making you question His love and His plan for your life. It aims to distract you from the truth, preoccupying your mind with worst-case scenarios and effectively neutralizing your spiritual effectiveness.
An anxious heart is a battlefield where the enemy often gains significant ground, seeking to cripple your spirit before you even realize you are under attack. It is imperative, therefore, to discern the roots of such anxiety. While seeking practical help is wise, do not overlook the spiritual dimension of persistent, unfounded fear.
Ask yourself if this anxiety aligns with the peace that God promises His children. If it feels foreign, oppressive, and contrary to the spirit of truth and love, then recognize it for what it often is: a spiritual weapon deployed against you. Identifying this anxiety as a potential tactic of the invisible enemy is the first courageous step toward reclaiming your peace.
The chill of numbness when the spirit grows dim. Beyond exhaustion and anxiety, there is another subtle yet profoundly dangerous sign of an invisible attack: spiritual numbness.
Prayer might suddenly feel like an empty ritual, the words hollow and unheard.
This spiritual desensitization is not a sign that you failed, but often a clear indication that an attack is underway to sever your connection.
The strategic danger of spiritual numbness cannot be overstated, and darkness rushes to fill any undefended space.
The enemy desires for you to become indifferent, to believe that your faith was perhaps never real, or that God has somehow distanced Himself from you.
It is a deliberate attempt to quiet your spirit and that you have lost. But the truth is, recognizing this numbness is the first step towards breaking its hold and seeking the warmth of God's presence anew.
It's not just your light they attack. There is something more, something deeper. You carry a unique, God-given purpose, a divine assignment inscribed on your soul. This purpose is your sacred blueprint. It is the reason for your existence. Perhaps your purpose feels unclear now. Maybe it seems too small to matter. Or perhaps it feels impossibly large, too daunting to even contemplate. But do not be deceived by appearances. Your divine purpose is profoundly significant. This is why the enemy fights you. He fights you with such desperation. He aims to derail your God-given destiny, to keep you from ever stepping into it. He wants you wandering, lost and confused, questioning your worth, doubting your calling. When obstacles rise like mountains before you, when confusion clouds your every decision, recognize these for what they often are. Your purpose is worth fighting for.
The enemy attacks your light, your purpose. But he also attacks something else, something that terrifies him perhaps most of all. He attacks your incredible God-given potential. Your potential is like a tiny seed planted within you by the Creator. It holds the promise of a great harvest, a future filled with abundant life, the kind John 10:10 speaks about. Many attacks are therefore preemptive strikes, designed to crush your spirit early, to make you give up before you blossom, before you realize the strength within. So understand why you are a target. It's because you matter more than you think. You are dangerous to hell's dark agenda. Your light, your purpose, your potential. These are weapons against the enemy. This knowledge should not fill you with fear. It should fill you with a holy resolve. God has invested too much in you. You were made to overcome.
The spiritual realm operates on principles. Access is one such powerful principle, and unforgiveness, my friend, is a wide-open door, a glaring invitation for the enemy. Unforgiveness grants them legal ground. Think about the weight of unforgiveness. It feels like a stone in your heart, a constant bitter poison you ingest daily, hoping it will harm the other person, but it only corrodes your own soul. This is a deliberate, cunning strategy. The adversary uses your unforgiveness to chain you to yesterday's pain, to block the flow of God's peace, and to hinder your spiritual advancement. But you are not without power here. You don't fight darkness by ignoring it. You fight it by standing in truth. Releasing forgiveness is a radical act, an act of profound spiritual warfare. When you choose to forgive, you slam that door and reclaim your spiritual territory.
Consider the insidious nature of addiction. It often begins as a whisper of escape, a promise of comfort, a fleeting pleasure, but it quickly forges unbreakable chains, binding you to a destructive cycle. The adversary plays a crucial role here. He fuels the insatiable desires. He amplifies the desperate cravings. He whispers lies of utter hopelessness, convincing you that you are too far gone, that freedom is an impossible dream. Then there is the consuming fire of anger, especially anger that simmers into rage or festers into deep-seated bitterness. This is not just a fleeting emotion. It is a powerful spiritual access point, a doorway for tormenting spirits. These two, addiction and uncontrolled anger, they can work in terrible partnership or stand alone as destructive forces. Both create chaos in your inner world and blind you to spiritual realities.
There is another door the enemy loves, perhaps one of his most subtle tactics. It is the slow, creeping grip of isolation. He seeks to cut you off, to separate you from the body of believers, from godly counsel, from the warmth of true fellowship. This is precisely where the enemy wants you, alone with your thoughts, your fears, and his insidious, deceptive suggestions. He can manipulate your perspective more easily when there are no other voices of truth. Isolation is a dangerously open door because it removes vital spiritual safeguards. There is no accountability in true solitude, no one to offer a different perspective, no one to speak life-giving words of truth, no one to share the burden of the battle. The call is to community, to connection, to vulnerability within a trusted circle. Breaking out of isolation is an act of war. It closes a significant door to the enemy. Light dispels darkness, and fellowship brings light.
The strategies for fighting back culminate in understanding and accessing God's unstoppable power. The battles you face are spiritual, and they require a spiritual power far greater than your own. This divine spirit, the Holy Spirit, is the limitless, inexhaustible source of true spiritual power.
How then do you tap into this divine current, this river of God's mighty power? Crucially, this power flows most freely through a life of complete surrender to God.
The nature of God's power is truly awe-inspiring and utterly transformative. This is the power that breaks the strongest chains, that opens impossible prison doors. It is a power that turns victims into victors and transforms trials into triumphs.
Ultimately, this leads to the unbreakable assurance of your victory.
The journey we have undertaken is a beacon. It is a torch handed to you, burning brightly with newfound clarity. You have been reminded of the invincible armor and the unstoppable power that are your birthright. This knowledge is not meant to be hoarded. It is a light designed to be shared, to pierce the darkness others may still be enduring.
Your voice, your willingness to share, can be the lifeline they desperately need. You are under attack because you are powerful, and there is a way to fight back and win this spiritual war.
The understanding you've gained is a powerful weapon, but a single warrior can still feel the strain of a prolonged battle. This is why community and a supportive network are divine strategies for enduring strength. This channel is more than just information. It's your shelter in the storm. We are stronger together, an undeniable truth the enemy hopes you forget.
Every time you engage, you forge another link in an unbreakable chain of support. This network becomes a spiritual fortress, a communal stronghold, where those faltering in faith can be lifted up by collective strength. Your participation contributes significantly to the strength of this spiritual family.
Become an active builder of this supportive community. When you subscribe, you are part of this army. When you share these messages, you recruit others to stand with us. When you comment, you strengthen the hearts of those who read your words. Remember, you were never meant to fight alone. This community stands as a testament to that divine principle. Together, we rise above every attack, stronger and more resolute.